fight, 3 fights. You know what I'm saying?
He's,
Title fight.
he's talking about with Islam. He's saying that he's a little new in the sport still.
Yeah, there's a lot of work to do before.
But he has a big future. You got a big future. The longer you're on top, the more time your opponents get to study your footage. People fixate on fighting you instead of the next opponent. And
You're starting.
yeah, it gets harder and harder the longer you stick around. We get older.
John Jones has just shared his thoughts on Islam Makhachev legacy and also shared who Islam should be fighting. However, Islam Makhachev made it clear that if a fight with Ilia Topuria becomes necessary, he has no problem stepping into the cage with him. He didn't back down from the possibility and showed confidence that the matchup would take place if that's what the UFC and fans wanted. For Islam, it's just part of being a champion facing whoever is next in line, and if that's Topuria, then he's ready to take that challenge.
Выйдем, поговорим. Но у нас 100% будет какой-то разговор. Он постоянно говорит про меня, что-то хочет, наверное, донести. Я не понимаю, что он хочет донести. Выйдем, поговорим. Драться хочет. Подеремся, если нужно будет.
On the other hand, Ilia Topuria, while recognizing Islam Makhachev's greatness, is confident that he is the best fighter in the world. He believes in his skills and feels he could defeat Islam in the octagon. Topuria's confidence comes from his belief in his own power and abilities, which he thinks would be enough to challenge and overcome Islam's strengths.
We'll see what's going to happen. Me personally, what I want to do is to move up to the 155 because I know by fact that I can become a two-weight world champion. Because Islam, he's a great fighter. He's the #1 pound for pound for the people, for me. It's me, myself. I'm the best fighter in the world. So I know that I can do with him whatever I want to do because I know that I'm much better than him.
Moreover, Alexander Volkanovski said that Islam was really good, but also thought that Ilia was the kind of fighter who could knock out anyone. Ilia had a lot of power in his hands, and everyone knew it. Going into a fight with him, people understood that his best chance of winning was with a knockout.
How would you see that fight going between Islam and Ilia?
Yeah, I mean, Islam's really good, you know what I mean? But again, Ilia's the type of guy that he could knock out anyone. So he's got power in them hands, you know what I mean? Everyone knows that. You go in there fighting him, you know that that's his chance of winning.
However, John Jones said that Islam Makhachev is still new in the sport and has a lot to learn, but he believes Islam has a big future ahead. He explained that the longer a champion stays at the top, the harder it gets. Other fighters start watching your fights closely and focus only on beating you. John said that being a champion becomes more difficult over time because everyone is studying you and trying to find a way to win.
Fight, 3 fights. You know what I'm saying?
He's,
Title fight.
he's talking about with Islam. He's saying that he's a little new in the sport still.
Yeah, there's a lot of work to do before.
But he has a big future. You got a big future.
Big future, but I think that same Habib career not long.
Yeah, not very long.
Yeah, just start the pressure just to make the fight. So it's got a lot. You know, you kept on keeping on, and I still are.
I feel like
Wow, how's this even arguing?
the longer you're on top, the more time your opponents get to study your footage. People fixate on fighting you instead of the next opponent. And
You're starting.
yeah, it gets harder and harder the longer you stick around. We get older.
And then they're yelling at you, and you're like, you know, you're starting to me. Why are you even pop like that?
Paddy Pimblett thinks Islam should defend his title more than once before trying to go for a second belt. He also said that although he was first told he would be the main event at UFC 314, things aren't clear right now, and he's just waiting to see how it all plays out.
See Ilia fighting Islam, you know what I mean? He's only defended the belt once. Normally he needs to defend the belt like 3 times, and he's not that big of a star to just jump, he's not McGregor, you know what I mean, to just jump right up and fight for the other belt. So I can't personally see that happening, but we'll see what happens. I heard Ilia's headline in the 314 event against Volk, but you don't know till nothing's finalised with the UFC. I have been told this and that in the last few weeks, last few months, and you know, we'll just see what happens.
However, Ilia Topuria made it clear that he's only interested in fighting for the UFC lightweight title, not a #1 contender bout. He expressed his desire to face Islam Makhachev, believing it's the biggest and most marketable fight since everyone else has already lost to Islam. Topuria stated that he doesn't care if Islam is reluctant to fight him, insisting that eventually Islam will have no choice but to face him. He challenged Islam to prove he's truly the champion by accepting the fight, claiming claiming he's earned the shot after knocking out two legends in the featherweight division, Alexander Volkanovski and Max Holloway.
Do you have a timeline of when you would like to fight at 155?
I would like to fight with Islam, that's for sure. I would like to fight him.
But if they don't give you that fight, if they give you like a #1 contender fight, when would you like to fight next?
I wouldn't fight for a #1 contender fight. No.
You only want to fight for the title?
Yeah, of course.
Also, it's the most marketable fight. Everybody else is lost to him, right?
I don't care if Islam decides that he doesn't want to fight me. I don't care. I said till you're going to have to fight me. Okay? You say that you are the world champion, you're going to keep dominating the division, all that. I'm here. You can't keep avoiding me all the time. Prove that I deserve that shot. As you said, I knock out
two of the all-time greats.
Two of the all-time greats. To the greats, Walt, who was like dominating everyone in 145 division, and Max Holloway. Great fighters, both of them.
Ilia Topuria further stated that moving up to 155 pounds will make him even more dangerous in the octagon. He explained that at this weight, he feels stronger, more stable, and fully fueled, unlike before when his body wasn't operating at 100%. Topuria warned that at lightweight, he only needs to touch his opponent's head to knock them out, emphasizing that their lights will go out even without hitting the chin. He also mentioned that he's ready to wrestle if necessary, and that he has the stamina not just for 5 rounds, but for 5 full days.
So with this extra 10 pounds, how much better do you think you'll be able to perform inside the octagon? Because I would imagine physically, as good as your performances were, and they were spectacular, your body could not have been operating at 100%.
You are going to see me at 155 that I'm going to touch someone and I'm going to take his lights out. I don't need to touch his chin. I just touch his head and it will explode. I feel so powerful at that weight class, so stable in the ground. Like, do you want to wrestle? Let's wrestle. No problem. And I have the gas tank for 5 days, not 5 rounds.
Moreover, Bo Nickel considers Islam the top pound-for-pound fighter right now, but he also believes Ilia Topuria has a real shot at doing well against him. He pointed to Volkanovski's performance in their first fight, especially how effective his wrestling was at times, as a reason why Topuria might be able to find success too. Bo suggested that if Ilia can prepare the right way and use smart tactics, the fight could be more competitive than people expect.
I think he's the pound-for-pound #1 right now. And I think he can win. And what makes me think that Ilia will do really well against Islam is that Volk's first fight with Islam. I'm like, man, Ilia's wrestling is way better than Volk's. And obviously, you could see how the striking went.
Kamaru Usman backs Ilia Topuria's move up to the lightweight division, agreeing with Joe Rogan's opinion. He sees Ilia as one of the top 3 pound-for-pound fighters in the world, and fully supports his pursuit of a title shot against Islam Makhachev. Usman believes Ilia has earned the chance to test himself at 155.
If he wants to move up 100%, I support it. Now, does he defeat someone like Islam Makhachev? Because people aren't paying attention of what Ilia Topuria is doing. He wants to be on that top spot, pound for pound. I think he's on top 3 right now, 100%. He knows this is his path to get there. Why not take off the pound for pound? So I support it. Let him try. And I'm having a joy watching Islam defend this title. Of course, make that shut up.
Before the fight speculations began, Khabib Nurmagomedov believed that Ilia Topuria deserved a shot at 155 pounds if he defeated a top contender like Dustin Poirier or Charles Oliveira. Khabib thought that such a victory would put Ilia next in line for a fight against Islam Makhachev.
Ilia Topuria. He said, you know what? I want to go up to 155 pounds, fight the #1 contender, and then if he wins that, then he fights Islam. I think that's good, brother. I think he deserves.
I think if he move up and he beat somebody like Dustin Poirier or Charles Oliveira, he's next. Why not? Because there is nobody.
However, Khabib disagreed with giving Ilia Topuria a title shot without first facing a top 155-pound opponent. He believed that if Ilia had defeated a high-level lightweight, he would have earned the right to be considered a serious contender for Islam Makhachev's title.
So you don't think right now Ilia deserves a shot at 155 pounds?
Without fighting in 155? Without? No, I don't agree. Because Islam already give chance and people talk bet about like, oh, he fight 2 times with Volkanovski, but the UFC pushed this fight, and this fight was good in first fight. But why Islam have to give 3 times chance for 145 champion? Why? It's not fair for 155 pounds.
Right,
But if he move up and he beat somebody like Charles Oliveira, of course. You know what I think?
Yeah.
I think he can beat him.
Yeah. I like Charles, but I think so too.
No, I think Ilya can beat him.
Daniel Cormier agreed with Khabib Nurmagomedov's perspective on the potential fight between Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria, stating that it likely isn't worth the risk. He pointed out that Makhachev's previous super fight against Alexander Volkanovski demonstrated that sometimes the reward doesn't align with the risk. Despite Volkanovski being ranked as the #1 pound-for-pound fighter at the time, Makhachev didn't receive the recognition or respect one might expect from such a major victory.
I believe the response to those fights is why they feel it's not. Because in those fights, you had a guy in Volk who's the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world, unquestioned. He beat him, and he did not get the respect or the love that might have been anticipated, right?
Cormier further explained that super fights are meant to elevate the winner's status, but this typically happens when the smaller fighter wins. Since Islam is the naturally larger athlete, defeating a smaller opponent like Ilia Topuria might not generate the same level of praise or momentum. He echoed Khabib's sentiment, agreeing that the risk outweighs the reward, especially considering Makhachev's limited time left in his career.
Super fights mean that the person that comes on the other side of the super fight feels a lift after winning said super fight. I did it. I felt it after beating Stipe Miocic. Islam Makhachev, he had the fight, won the super fight, didn't feel the love because it was like, well, you beat a smaller guy. Maybe that's the case though whenever you're the bigger guy and you actually win. Maybe the love comes when you're the smaller guy and you win the fight. But Khabib's talking about the risk versus the reward, essentially. And the reward or the juice wasn't worth the squeeze, at least in the first case.
Michael Chandler admires Ilia Topuria's fighting style, noting how he stays calm and balanced before delivering the knockout punch. Chandler believes that Topuria has the potential to catch Islam Makhachev with a big shot, but he also thinks that if the fight goes past 15 minutes, Islam's size and conditioning would give him the edge.
If Islam and Ilia Topuria go at it, who do you think wins?
Ilia Topuria may be one of my favorite guys to watch stylistically. How he doesn't force things, not getting emotional, not pushing too hard, also not taking his foot off the gas. He's just right there in the middle until he lands the big knockout punch. So I think he could catch Islam, but if that fight goes anything past 15 minutes, I think Islam beats him handedly just because Islam is a large 155er, and I don't think Ilia is that big. But ton of respect for both of those guys, especially Ilia Topuria.
Max Holloway believes that Islam Makhachev's well-rounded skill set makes it hard to bet against him. He feels that Islam's experience and ability to control the pace of the fight would likely prevent Ilia Topuria from securing a win. Holloway thinks Islam's versatility gives him the upper hand in most matchups.
Ilya versus Makhachev, what would you think? Who would win?
I mean, bro, it's hard to go against Islam. His fighting style is a tough one. You know, he likes wrestling. He likes striking. Now he's falling in love with his striking. It's hard to bet against Islam. At the end of the day, if he gets it, that's cool, but probably not. He has Volk and Diego driving down the door right now, so I think they might keep him down here.
Bilal Muhammad emphasized that Islam Makhachev shouldn't be expected to fight someone moving up from 145 pounds without first earning the opportunity. He highlighted that Islam has already defended his title and faced significant challenges, such as being dropped by Jai Herbert and taken down by Bryce Mitchell. Bilal pointed out that Islam's grappling and head kick make him a dangerous opponent and suggested he should focus on defending his title against other top contenders in the 155-pound division. He specifically mentioned fighters like Justin Gaethje, who has earned a title shot, as well as rising stars like Paddy Pimblett and Arman Tsarukyan, who are also making a name for themselves.
He went up there already. He got dropped by Jai Herbert. We've seen him get taken down by Bryce Mitchell. Like, if Islam gets on top of you, takes you down, you're not getting back up. If Islam hits you with that head kick, you're not getting back up. So for them, it's like, what am I going to gain from it? What is there to gain for Islam besides just the money, right? It's just like, all right, well, I haven't fought Justin Gaethje yet. He's, no matter who Justin fights, he deserves a title shot, right? Like, he could get one win and fight for a title. Paddy Pimblett's on a long streak right now. There's guys at 55 that he could fight. Arman's still there, right? There's There's other opponents for him to fight. So, like, he's not desperate to have to fight a 45.
Chael Sonnen challenged the notion that Islam Makhachev has a significant size advantage over Ilia Topuria, arguing that a 10-pound difference between weight classes is minimal. He dismissed the idea that Ilia has no chance as an exaggeration, pointing out that top wrestlers often face their toughest challenges from the best fighters in the weight class below them. Sonnen emphasized that skill and technique can make up for any perceived size disparity, and that Topuria's abilities shouldn't be underestimated.
Do guys that size not know? I mean, there is a different size of guy. Like, there's little guys that don't know they're little guys, and then that's really offensive. That's like really offensive if you call them. I'm not attempting to be offensive. Do 45 pounders and 55 pounders not know? You weigh the same thing. You weigh the exact same thing. If you get on a scale and it says 145, and another dude gets on the scale and it says 155, that scale says the exact same thing. Are you not aware of that? Do guys that size not know that? There is no size difference between Ilia and Islam. It's a 145 versus a 155.
Cody Brundage shared his thoughts on the potential clash between Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev, highlighting Topuria's dominant run, particularly his knockout victories over elite fighters like Max Holloway and Alexander Volkanovski. Brundage noted that if Ilia manages to defeat Islam as well, it would solidify his place among the greatest fighters of all time, potentially even earning him a spot in the top 3. Brundage emphasized how impressive such a feat would be, further cementing Topuria's legacy in the sport.
It's a crazy fight. You know, we talked about that. You know, Yusuf obviously at 145, he's on a tear. He's making his come up, and he wants that Ilia fight so bad. They already fought once, but we were talking about if Ilia goes in and knocks out Islam Makhachev, like how high do we put him on the GOAT list? Right? Like to me, I'm like, John Jones is number 1 no matter what. I don't think anybody could surpass John Jones for a long time. Obviously it would take a ton, but everyone in my circle at least is like, man, if he goes and knocks out Islam after knocking out Holloway, after knocking out Volk, he's got to be up there like top 3.
Brundage also highlighted Ilia Topuria's often overlooked grappling skills, pointing out that he's a high-level wrestler and a black belt in jiu-jitsu with strong submission abilities. Despite this, he leaned toward Islam Makhachev as the likely winner, citing the noticeable size difference as a key factor in an otherwise evenly matched fight. Brundage added that regardless of the outcome, the bout would be thrilling and intensely competitive, with both fighters bringing their best to the octagon.
And he could do it. I think people, like, he's been knocking all these people out. People really sleep on Ilia's grappling. He's a super high-level black belt with really good submissions, really good wrestling. And so I think people are worried, like saying, oh, he'll get out-wrestled, but he has great wrestling. So, man, I don't know. I would have to go with Islam because he's bigger, and I think weight maybe plays a factor when you have 2 really highly skilled guys, but that would be an absolute banger of a fight.
Joe Rogan expressed strong support for Ilia Topuria getting a shot at the lightweight title, stating that it's clear he has earned the opportunity. Rogan argued that when a reigning champion moves up and knocks out elite opponents like Max Holloway and Alexander Volkanovski, the next step is obvious. He called the title shot a no-brainer, emphasizing that Topuria has done everything necessary to earn it. Rogan also pointed out that Ilia is fully prepared to compete at 155 pounds, having already moved beyond the featherweight division.
Because you have a world champion versus a world champion. Like, if anybody deserves a fight for the world title in the next weight class, it's you. It's simple. It's simple. You knocked out Max Holloway. I mean, it's simple. You knocked out Alexander Volkanovski, one of the greatest of all time. It's simple. That's a no-brainer. That's the fight. You know, he doesn't want to fight 45 anymore. He wants to fight 55. World title shot.
Demetrius Johnson shared his thoughts on the potential matchup, calling it intriguing. He acknowledged Islam Makhachev's ability to use his length and throw body kicks, but questioned whether Ilia Topuria could catch one and transition into a takedown to initiate grappling. Johnson expressed doubt, suggesting Topuria is the better boxer, and pointed out how Islam handled a skilled boxer like Dustin Poirier.
Ilia Topuria moving up to lightweight. If he does fight Islam Makhachev, how do you think that fight goes?
I think
it'll be interesting matchup because I look at Islam's very good about using his length and throwing the body kick. So are we going to see Ilia Topuria catch a kick for a takedown and start grappling with him? I doubt it. Ilia Topuria is a better boxer. We saw what Islam could do against a good boxer when it comes to Dustin Poirier.
Benail Darius shared his thoughts on Ilia Topuria entering the lightweight title picture, saying Ilia might be the most qualified newcomer in the division right now. However, he believes Islam Makhachev and his team aren't too interested in facing another former featherweight. After already going up against 2 opponents from the 145-pound division, Darius thinks they feel that chapter is closed and are now focused on fresh challengers within the lightweight class. He admitted it's a complicated situation. Ilia brings something new to the table, but his featherweight past makes Makhachev's team cautious about accepting the matchup.
If Ilia is coming into the division, I honestly think he's the most deserving, but I don't think Makhachev and his team right now want to give a shot to another 45er. I think they feel like they did it twice. That's enough, you know. Now they want contenders, and at the same time, but Makhachev also wants to fight new guys. So it's kind of one of those things where you're stuck because you have a new opponent, but he's a former 45er, and you're like, I don't want to fight another 45er. So it's a weird.
So what are your thoughts on this? Share your thoughts in the comment section and make sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video.